Alright, so today I'm going to bring back an oldie but a goodie. I always have dug the chili cornbread bake, and I always like to spice it up by doing Mexican style cornbread or cornbread with jalapenos in it and some Mexican spices. So we're going to use one pouch of uh, Shawnee Mills, just regular cornbread mix, and then I've got one that is it says Mexican style. Basically, it's Martha White. Has jalapenos and something else in it. So excited about that. But this is my favorite. I like the cranberry. I'm sorry, Pampered Chef, but I don't like the gray. The gray. This is the new color. So if this was the brand new one, because it's exactly the same, it would be in this color, and I am not a fan. This was my favorite. So I have one. It's the deep covered baker, and this whole meal is going to take a little over 20 minutes total, and we're going to brown ground beef in the microwave. And I know that everybody just said what, but that's why I'm a favorite of this recipe, because you put raw ground beef in our deep covered baker and you put it in the microwave for 7 to 10 minutes, and until it's no longer pink. You take the mix and chop, you chop it up, you put it back in for another 5 minutes, you mix all your other ingredients in it, put your cornbread over top of it, and you finish it in the microwave, and you're not going to believe it. It is amazing. So,
And by the way, I like the gray, so there.
I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. I think I think they took something that was beautiful, and that's all they could come up with was gray. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, so we're going to take I will take the mix and chop just before I really get the microwave going. According to the recipe, you're just supposed to put it in there in a lump and start cooking it. I'd rather kind of break it up now a little bit and then cook it and then break it out and really break up the chunks. So that's our first step. And the new recipe, because there's an updated version of this recipe, the new version of it calls it Chipotle chili bake, or Chipotle cornbread bake. And the old style, you didn't put in adobo peppers, and I'm not going to. That's why I like using the spicy cornbread mix. Because our microwave is pretty high on the wattage, I'm going to go 8 minutes.
Show that fancy tool you were just using on the hamburger.
Yes, this is our mix and chop. Very first thing I ever bought from Pampered Chef. And do you know why it's the very first thing I ever bought? I was invited to a cooking show long before the internet ever started with all these shows, and I watched the gal use this, and the more I watched it, I was like, can I try that? And she's like, sure, sure. And because I had been using, we don't even have one. We don't even have hard plastic spatulas anymore.
No.
Ours are all flimsy, so I don't even have one to use, but a turning spatula. I used to try to use one of those, and I was forever, if the ground beef was big chunks, you know what I'm talking about. It was a struggle. So then we moved to wooden spoon, trying to do it with a wooden spoon. And if you've never had a skillet, like where this has pretty good sides on it, so you're not just going to scoot it out, but if any of you have the skillet where the sides are kind of rounded and more of an angle than a straight up wall, you get to moving it around. Next thing you know, your ground beef's trying to scoot right out of the skillet. Well, when I got this thing and started seeing that you just push down and turn, I was sold. I was like, that, with all the other gadgets that's ever come out and how excited I've been about them, that's still my first love. Do you want to do the cheese onto a plate?
Yeah.
I need a cup. Shout out.
It's my new
Shout out to
Pioneer Woman plate. I just love her.
Shout out to Ree.
I do my old kitchen in it, but I don't think Rob would like it.
Huh?
I said I'd do my whole kitchen like that if I could, but I don't think you'd like it.
It's not very manly.
Okay, what are you using there?
This is the coarse grater.
And how do you adjust it?
Well, let's see. We've shown this before, but okay,
For our new
we still have a
customers.
white line on there. We did that on purpose. It works on a cam. You pull it over, you can fold it up, you pull it over, and you can go right for grating over top of a bowl. And this setting here where I've got it is basically like this, where you can hold on to it with your left hand or right hand. I mean, it's ambidextrous. And you grate your cheese, what you need for...
It does come with a guard too, so you don't
Yes.
get your fingers.
Yes, I don't like the guard. It doesn't work for me. If someone was actually really afraid of cutting themselves, I would recommend it. But for me, I just make sure that I'm quite careful and don't peel off a fingernail or the end of a finger. It's not very appetizing. That's not quite a cook. So, it's 99 degrees today. Probably with the heat index, it's probably about 103. And
Yeah, and we're having
really,
chili.
It's not really chilly weather. But I've been talking about wanting to make this for some time now. And this morning I made the executive decision that this is what we were having for supper.
And why is it better to shred your cheese? Why don't you just buy a packet? It's easier.
Well, if you like the chemicals that they add in there to keep the cheese from clumping, then be my guest. But they put some chemical powders in there to keep the cheese from sticking together. And if you've ever noticed when you buy a bag of shredded cheese and you try to melt it, say you try to make nachos in the microwave, if you ever noticed, it takes a really long time for that stuff to melt because it's got chemical preservatives in it, and you've got to defeat that plastic type stuff that they put on that in order to get it to melt. I can take that and stick it in the microwave and melt it, and it'll melt just like cheese.
And if you
ought
look,
to.
it does have kind of like a white powderish on those cheeses in the bag.
Yes. So, microwave grip set. I once again, the gray. Somebody was in a bad mood when they chose this was the color we were going with. But I'm going to use this to get our deep covered baker out of here. Okay, is it done? Mostly, but that's why they say to stop and to use your mix and chop and break it up. Now there is one step we're going to have to do. Can you get a picture? There's a lot of juice, so you're going to need to get it.
I just want to see you chop it.
It says to drain off the juice, but if you see that, about half of that pound of meat is already brown. And the first time I ever saw this recipe done was many years ago, basically right after the cranberry came out. I don't know exactly the year, but I'm wanting to say 2011, 2012, something like that. It might have been before that. Might have been 2010.
It was before that.
Huh? The cranberry?
Well, when you went to the party.
Okay. I don't know. I've lost track of time. Had to have been at least 2010, if not a little bit after, because the boys deployed in 2010, and it was after that. So, I gotta put it back in. I still have 3 minutes and 44 seconds. We do have this set.
Which I love because I'm always, always, always burning myself. And these are great.
Yes. They do cover your whole hand. I will give you that. For me, the shape of my hand, this part here, for the thumb, I don't have extremely long thumbs. So I want to point out to you, do you see the lump right there? That's the end of my thumb. There's 1.5 inches of thumb out there that I can't manipulate correctly, and I am forever, if I go to pick up a dish, sticking that right down in my food. And I've just gotten to the point where I won't even use these. Tamla loves them, for me, they just sit on the counter. Okay, so I've got my cheese ready. When we get this back out here, I have to mix in all my onion, and we're going to cook it for an additional 5 minutes. We're actually going to put in I changed the recipe just slightly because I didn't have any of what they were calling for. I'm putting in a can of chili with beans. Putting in red beans. A can of diced tomatoes, where it was calling for chunky salsa. I didn't really want the salsa, so I'm putting in my diced tomatoes. And I didn't have a green pepper, but we had yellow and we had red out of our garden, and I cut a very small piece of a poblano and what was left of one of our jalapenos.
You can go ahead and mix up the cornbread.
Give me a second.
Well, okay.
And the only other thing I'm going to add to the recipe that it didn't call for, I want a little smoked paprika.
Oh, my favorite. I love smoked paprika.
I just think it's going to make it a little richer flavor. In my spice thing here, all the spices that it was called for, I just found it easier to take one of the little mini easy read measuring cups.
Isn't it the cutest little thing?
Stick it all in there.
Turn it sideways.
We have 2 of these.
Oh, I just love it. I use it all the time. I love it.
In our little mini measuring cup or easy read, I've got a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of chili powder, I've got a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic, and we're going to mix all that in with our half of onion. We got to have a cup of onion in there, and half of it is supposed to go in with the chili, and the other half you lay on top of the mix with the cheese, and then put your cornbread over top of it. So it's going to be amazing. Okay. Actually, it'll be easier if I pick this out here. What am I going to drain our juice into? Probably one of the cans after. How am I going to do that? I had that sitting on the grater, so it wasn't actually down on the bottom of the sink. Okay, so the ground beef is completely done, as if you had just done it in a skillet on the stove. It's unreal. I guess I'll just get a coffee cup. A measuring cup or a big spoon? And this was the only thing I knew for sure when I bought it this morning. I wanted a little fattier ground beef. I normally don't buy 75-15, but that's what this ended up being. I was looking for 80-20 and they didn't have any, and the only other choice was 93, and I knew that would have been too lean. You want a little fat in there, or else it's going to be dry. That's not going to work fast enough to suit me. That little ladle, is it in the silverware drawer?
Yes.
Yeah. Speed
Gosh, it smells good already, and all he's done is cook the hamburger.
Speed and efficiency.
Well, there's still a few items that we don't have from Pampered Chef.
Very few.
One of them would be the strainers. Those are really nice.
Honestly, they are wonderful. But right now, that wasn't on my priority list. Not that I don't want them sometime, but I had a whole bunch of other things on my wish list that I've been trying to knock off one after the other. And for our wedding, we got a set of stainless steel mixing bowls that are not Pampered Chef, but they're almost identical. It's almost like they were made by the same company. So I have had the other mixing bowls in the past, and probably sometime I'll get them just so I have them, but it's not a necessity. So into this, we're going to divide out half of our onion, which if Eric decides to have any of this tonight, he will hate that part. All our pepper.
What knife do you have there?
This is the coated chef knife.
Turn it sideways. Very nice.
So I'm going to go in with the diced tomato, and because it only called for a certain amount, we're going to kill two birds with one stone on that.
And you don't drain anything, right?
No. You need the juice in there. Going in with the diced tomato because it also called on the recipe for a one small Roma, and we're going to use a couple of regular tomatoes out of our garden, so I figured cutting the salsa out, we'll do it with the diced tomato. This is going to take place of some of the Roma, just how I roll. Alright, now the pool's going to fill up quick. Smell that. It's not Christmas time. Oh, here we go. Seasoned with love. There you go. That's an oldie but a goodie. I don't think that one's available anymore either, is it?
No.
I have a lot of vintage stuff. Some of the folks off of the other teams will get on the internet and start asking about, hey, I've got a customer that's asking about such and such, and if it's something that I'm aware of where it's been, I'm like, hey, that's really old. That's from such and such a year, and no, it's no longer available. So,
you know what's funny is this man loves chili and he hates beans.
No. You got to say it correctly.
But you will eat beans in chili.
Well, there you go. I love chili. I will eat beans in chili, but my family was one that would, well, let's see, for lack of a better term, make this gross chili soup, or excuse me, bean soup, and sit and eat a bowl of beans by themselves. And I know there's millions of you out there, so I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but that is not me. I will not eat a bowl of beans.
There's nothing better than a big old pot of brown beans with
not for
cornbread.
Not for me.
Yum.
Okay, so all of our spices I'm going to lay all over the top, and then I'm going to stir through, and then we got to get our cornbread mixed up. And the 1 egg, your sour cream, part of your cheese goes into the cornbread mix. And because it's the large covered baker, I found to give it a thicker crust, a thicker cornbread, so you almost have a nice big section. I found it better to do 2 packages than 1. For me, it seemed like when you did 1, the crust on top was really thin, and I never cared for it that way. So I've always done 2. And if I have a little left over, we have one of our 5.5. I guess it's the mini cast iron skillet.
Yes.
It's kind of oval. It's kind of square. I mean,
if I
have any left over, I'll put one in there and make it. But doesn't this smell good?
We've made so much in that little mini cast iron skillet. I love it.
They're great for desserts. 2 things that I'm a big fan of that she has made recently is individual chicken pot pie.
Yes.
Holy moly. And we cheat a little. I'll be honest with you. We cheat. We don't make homemade crust. She buys the preformed pie crusts that are in the refrigerator.
The pre-made.
Pre-made. Okay. So, what are we going to use for mixing bowl?
Well, duh. Pampered Chef mixing bowl.
How about a batter bowl? And that's another one that is how long? How old? Many, many moons.
Yeah, but it's basically still the same.
Yes. Well, it's shaped just a smidge different.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit bigger around, and it's squattier. It's not as tall as this one is.
Yeah.
This one has 1.25 inches of glass above where your ridge is here, and I think on the new ones they're a little bit bigger around, sets a little slower, and you don't have that big. I think they did this like this when they designed this, so that you didn't squirt mix all out of your bowl.
Do I get a taste test?
I suppose you can, but it'd be better if you waited until I had it all done.
Give me a little spoon. Make sure it's seasoned properly.
Okay. Maybe it's too spicy for you. I didn't put anything in it even spicy other than the little bits of jalapeno. Here's your teaspoon.
Hang on, people. I'll be right back.
Get out of there.
Oh my goodness, that tastes good.
Okay,
it's not even cooked yet, but it's so good.
I need another one. This is another one that's no longer available. I'm sorry that everything we have in our kitchen is no longer available. Since I've got 2 different cornbread mixes in here, I want to make sure that I have that jalapeno mix thoroughly through this. Alright, so refer to the directions. I'm going to put a little milk in with that. It says half the cheese. Whatever. Maybe half, maybe a little less than half.
That looked less.
Huh?
That looked less. There you go.
Sure. Have to please the tasting committee. 1 egg. This one happens to be actually room temperature, but I really don't think the temperature is going to matter at this point. Sour cream.
Which I've never put
Half a
sour
cup.
cream in my cornbread, but sounds good.
Well, I think it's to give it a little Mexican flair. Which, I mean, sour cream as a whole is not Mexican, but with the spice in there, it'll be kind of like eating a chili taco. Skinny scraper.
Wait, I didn't see it.
Skinny scraper. Everybody needs at least one. There's always a jar that you've got that has a narrow top to it that is hard to get in and out, and it's the perfect thing to do. Now, what's nice about these easy read measuring cups? See the lines on there? Instead of either taking one that you have to fill it completely to the brim, I can stand here and pour into that and see right where my graduation line is, and voila, 1 cup of milk. Because it's a half a cup per package, so. And now we mix.
You sound like Sam the cooking guy.
We watch a lot of YouTube videos of other chefs making their dishes. I like to take and make their dishes and change it around and make it my own. And so I've had a lot of people compliment us and say, you know, they love the innovative ideas we come up with. Well, it's not really plagiarism, because I usually give credit to whatever recipe we're making, but it's just taking something that someone else has done and finding a way to turn it into your own. All right. Now, what's nice about this recipe, why do I like it so much, is because, and I might have that just a smidge on. You put the cornbread on top, and you put it back in the microwave to cook it. No, you put it in the oven. I'm sorry. What's nice about it is all the juices out of this chili seep up into that cornbread when it's cooking, so that you get this really nice bite. You've got cornbread, and then suddenly you're right into the chili, and it is just absolutely amazing. All right.
Then your cheese.
Yep. Bake 20 to 30 minutes. Thought it was only 20.
Oh, I thought you did it all in the microwave.
No, I forgot this part on. Oh, look, it's a surprise.
That's our storage area for our stoneware. Can you tell how loved our stoneware is? Look how dark it is.
It
It's
definitely
very
gets
well
used.
loved.
Definitely gets used. There's a fly in here that I didn't invite to the party, and I'm not a fan. See, I could have done more cheese, and I think I might get that block back out and make sure I got cheese everywhere.
Okay, so once you put the topping on, then you put it in the oven for how long?
20 to 35 minutes.
Do you
There's
cover
a
it?
wide range there. Yes. You actually bake it covered. The last 10 minutes you take the lid off and you start checking your cornbread, because everybody's oven may be a little bit on, off, and so the idea is that you want your cornbread to get brown and finish. And
Okay, is there anything else you want to say to the nice people?
thanks for watching. Do you want to see me spoon the cornbread on there?
Sure.
I was actually going to put a little more cheese. Nope. Can't. And all I do is dollop it on there. I've got enough that it's going to rise up and just fill the whole top of this covered baker.
Ooh, are y'all jealous? You want to come eat with us tonight? Doesn't this look so good?
And the beauty is you got a little cheese in this. You got a little cheese down there in your chili itself. And along the edges, I don't know if you can see it already. See where the chili is bubbling up there?
Yeah.
And that's just from the weight of this being in there. Wait till it cooks up through there. It's just like heaven. This makes 8 servings. So the reason it was a fan favorite during in-home cooking shows, if you invited 8, 10, 12 people, it wouldn't be like where you get a bite, but it's like an hors d'oeuvre. You would actually get a plate full because there's enough that everybody gets to eat.
So think about this when you do a home show. You can do this at your party if we ever get to have home shows again.
Who knows? It's been a strange year.
If you would like Rob to come do a home show for you,
Absolutely.
please let us know, because I'm telling you guys, he's an amazing cook.
There's a graphic that I use a lot that basically says, I don't sell it just because I love it. I love it because I sell it. Did I say that wrong? I said it backwards, didn't I? I don't sell it because I love. However it says, anyways, it
I don't
fits
love
me.
it because I sell it. I sell it because I love it.
Okay, so there you go, and that fits me to a T. I enjoy cooking. I love to cook, and so it doesn't matter if I'm going to be the one eating it or not. We did a home cooking show basically right before the world came to an end this year, and oh gosh, that is so good. Everybody was just oohing and awing, and it's just what I love to do.
All right, so we're gonna put this in the oven. Oh, we left out the smoked paprika.
Oh,
Man,
well. Oh well. Yes, I'm putting it in the oven.
it'll still be good. All right, thanks everybody.